Hello and welcome back to Fair Life with Andrew McKee. I, as always, am Andrew McKee. And yeah, back to the back to the fair grind. I did Sherwood Forest Fair last weekend, and one of my favorite fairs. So definitely not complaining, but it was a little warmer than I was expecting, especially on Saturday, the last day of February. It got into the mid 80s or so. So yeah, that was definitely, it kind of hit me hard. And I realized that, wow, a little over a month ago, I was at Fair Champions doing a show in something like 20-degree weather. So now all of a sudden it's like 85. So I was doing great in the morning, but then by around 2 or 3 p.m., it was starting to hit me a little bit. I suddenly was kind of, oh, okay, I need to rewire my brain to get used to the heat again. And so I had to do that a little bit, but Sunday was great. No problems on Sunday. A lot of fun. Everybody was great. Huge crowds, almost 10,000 on Saturday, and I think around 5,000 or so on Sunday. So very good. Very good. No complaints. So no, hey, Jan and Lisa and Kevin and Dan and Andrea. Hey, and yeah, you were there. Hello. So yes, yeah, it was a good first weekend. No complaints really. I just, so nice to be back. Of course, I need to sit back and savor it because this is what happens when you do fairs for a few years. All of a sudden you start a fair and it goes for 4 weeks or 6 or 8 or whatever. And that first weekend is like, oh, this is so great. And then it feels like you blink and the fair is over. Because I don't know, it just seems to go so quick these days. I hope that doesn't mean I'm getting used to it. I'm going to have to look into that and see if I can curb that because I definitely don't want to get used to it. One of the things I love about fair is I never feel like I'm used to it. But I do really stretch my schedule as much as I can by putting as many things during my day as I can. And it does make the day go by quicker. Where I think in years past, I didn't pad it with as much. But yeah, I think that might be what's going on. Yeah, I for sure would. They are talking about it possibly raining this weekend, but I want to stress I don't believe any forecast until maybe Wednesday night is when I start to believe it, and they're still usually wrong, but they sometimes are in the realm of being right on Wednesday. So anything they say now, I don't believe. If they say there's an inch of rain, it's just as likely there'll be 1/100th of an inch of rain. So we'll see. We'll see. We shall definitely see. Yeah, I Sherwood especially. I don't think I do as much at almost any other fair. And honestly, it's easier now than it used to be. I think the few years before COVID, they had 2 maypoles during the day. And I think this was around 2016 or something. I was walking by and they were trying to do a maypole without music. And I realized a really hard truth when it comes to dancing at fair. There are few things sadder than people dancing a maypole without music. It just looks and feels wrong. I would rather them have recorded music and do that, but at the time they didn't even have that. So I just kind of went, no, okay, hold on. Went over there. You need me to play music? I will play music for you right now because this is wrong. And I had to fix that. So I did. And for several years, I played music for the Maypole, and so glad I did. So glad I did. Actually, yeah, that was where I think I first saw our current maid, Marion. She was out dancing the Maypole one of those years. Yeah, as a patron. So that's how that works. Yes, you are right. There's a burn ban going on at Sherwood, which means it's, of course, very dry, and they probably could use some rain. Personally, I hope it rains on Wednesday and Thursday, maybe a bit on Friday, and the weekend is not too bad. that would be the ideal. That means you get some rain. It's you get rid of all the dust. Not a problem there. And if you can hear my voice, you can tell that I got a little bit of the dust. That was probably the tough thing. I took my allergy meds just in case, but the dust still got me a bit. Oh, really could snow. Wow. Ooh. Yeah, that could be interesting. Uh, I didn't think it was going to get that cold, but well, again, I don't believe the forecast yet. If you remember in the past, I've thought about trying to do weekend forecasts on Monday during the show and just do a short little bit when I'm doing the Faire list and talk about, okay, well, here's the forecast for the US, even general broad strokes. But every time I looked into it and tried to figure it out, I felt like I would be misleading all of you because there was, they're just, they were not accurate enough, not for what we needed. Uh, Wednesday or Thursday would be the earliest I would be comfortable with it. I did think about maybe trying to do a forecast later in the week, but yeah, people didn't really seem interested, so I didn't worry about it. Oh, and hey, Nancy, thanks for joining. Yeah, it was a little bit. Yeah, not really much else I can say about that. I will say I fought through it pretty well. I had a very good voice day on Sunday, and especially for a first weekend, normally I have to kind of get in the swing of things. And Sunday, my voice, I have to force it a little bit because it's a little rough, but I didn't have that problem. Sunday, I was very solid on my voice, and yeah, even in the last couple of shows, I got some compliments from people saying, "Wow, really good voice." So that's always a good sign, especially when they're unsolicited comments. But yeah, yes, and you're right about the pollen. Like I said, I went ahead and took allergy meds Friday, Saturday, and Sunday as preventative because usually it's around this time of year that I start to get some allergies during Sherwood, and I figured I would just go ahead and nip it in the bud at the beginning. No pun intended with the bud joke. But yes, it was good. It was good. All things considered, it worked out very well. And can't complain too much about that. I really good crowd. The interesting thing for me though was Sunday. It was around 3 p.m., 3:30, and the fair just started clearing out. It was so strange. I mean, usually on Sundays, there's a slow opening, morning, first thing. But there was a decent crowd at front gate on Sunday morning. But around 3:30, they just started exiting the fair, and it was continual. And by about 4:30 to 5, the fair was pretty empty. That was a little weird. Definitely different. But hey, it there were still enough people at pub seeing to make it a party, so that worked out. Yes, it's a lot of different things, and of course, a lot of it depends on where in the country you are. But it's definitely a thing. I'm actually not sure what I'm allergic to. It's probably the elm, but I don't know. I'm Yeah, I just started. I didn't even realize I had allergies until a few years ago. I was at Sherwood and I kept having all this congestion and thought, man, my sinuses are really acting up. It's a problem. And I lost my voice. Big problem when you're at Faire as a performer. And I suddenly, people were talking about allergies and I thought, could this be allergies? I've never had allergies. Okay. So I took some meds and it actually helped. So I found out, yep, I developed some allergies. I don't think I'm the only one. That's definitely a problem. Yes, sort of a Twilight Zone Sunday. You are not wrong. Uh, Different, very different. You just kind of roll with it. And again, that's one of the things I like about Faire. It's not the same thing twice. I mean, next Sunday, it might be totally different, where whether it rains or not, it might be a very slow morning where not many people in the front gate, and then they stay later and there's a good crowd at 4:30. I mean, it's just that different. And I love that. Yeah. It's the variance that keeps it fresh. And that's why I always try to change my show around and not make it the same thing. I always call it I don't want to do the Dead Bob effect, because that's the classic show from Faire that people who've done this for a while remember as being the same show year after year, decade after decade, where you can kind of quote it. And it's the exact same show in the exact same format. And yeah, that type of repetition I wouldn't enjoy it as much. I'll put it that way. That would make it boring for me. And if you're bored doing something like this, what's the point? But yeah, no, it was a good first weekend, and I'm really looking forward to the next 7. I got to see a lot of people I knew. Some of you are on here, and that I haven't seen in a while, and that's always great. It's an interesting sort of segmented aspect of the year for the traveling performer, because you go to a fair and you see this group of people that you really only see at this fair for a few months, and then you go to the next fair, next event, and you'll see them again 10 months later. That's how it works. It's a very, I don't think it's the normal for most people in the country. I was going to say it's not a very stable way to have friendships, but in a way it is. It's just more like a yearly friend as opposed to a weekly friend. I mean, they have these times of year where these are your friends. It's interesting. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And I'm continually trying to make it to change it up and mix it up and have fun with it. That is very important. Oh, well, it's already 7:14. Let's go ahead and do the Faire list while we're here, because well, I mean, actually, it's not too bad. It's a very small list of fairs going on. It's not that much of a problem. As you can see, there are 5. So we kind of jumped into a few new fairs, but several of the fairs from before, from the kind of winter months, are ended. So there's not much going on in the beginning of March. As March goes on, more stuff will crop up. And then April hits, and then it starts getting crazy. It's, March can still be a very cold month, and fairs, especially in the north, not so good. Not so good. Picture album friends. I like that. I think that can describe it a little bit. You kind of get the morning selfie friends. That's how I'd probably put it, because we take pictures in the morning and everybody sees it. But yeah, and I'll see you again next year. Very different. Okay, well, let's jump in and go to the full map. Yay! And bring up my favorite aspect, the laser pointer. Yeah. Oh, I love it so much. So much fun. Okay, let's see if I can. Let's see. Let's put that up here. Excellent. Okay. And we will start off with, in Florida. Florida always has a lot of fairs going on at this time. And then we'll start with the Bay Area Renaissance Festival in Dade City, Florida. And that's week 4 out of 7. And this is an old fair. It started in 1979. And the theme for this weekend is High Seas Pirate Adventure. So that's always good. Then we'll jump over to the Florida Renaissance Festival in Deerfield Beach, Florida. And this is the 5th out of 8 weekends. And that's going to be, the theme is His Majesty's Marketplace, Haggle If You Dare. I have to admit, that's an odd theme choice. I mean, essentially, the theme is shopping. So, okay, I guess I don't know if they do anything in particular in relation to that, but okay, that's definitely an interesting theme choice. So, moving on over, we have the second weekend and the final weekend of the Gulf Coast Renaissance Fair and Pirate Festival. Now, this one's in Pensacola, and no theme, but it's been going on for a while. That one started in 2001, so a lot of older fairs. Oh man, competitive haggling on horseback. I like it. I like it. That's good. Okay, then jumping over to another good fair. I might be a little biased, but one of the best, Sherwood Forest Fair. Now, it was founded in 2010, so it's been going around for over 15 years. Really, just I have to give them a lot of credit because they have grown so well in 15 years. It's hard. I mean, they had almost 10,000 people on the opening Saturday. That's pretty impressive for 15 years. I will say that. So yeah, it is in McKee, Texas, about 45 minutes or so east of Austin. And yeah, it is. This will be the second weekend out of 8 coming up. They don't have themes, which I find interesting. Most large fairs now do, so it's kind of cool that they don't. Jumping over to Arizona, we have the Arizona Renaissance Festival in Apache Junction. They were founded in 1989, so they're starting to have been here for a while. This is the 6th out of 9 weekends. So yeah, they've been going on for a while. They usually start at the end of January or the beginning of February, depending on the calendar and the breaks. But yes, the theme is "'Tis an Enchanted Realm." So I guess more of a fae type of theme and magic theme. So yes, that is all. Not too bad. Pretty simple list for this weekend. Now, keep in mind, I don't include things like Celtic festivals that call themselves fairs because I like to think that that's sort of its own thing. It's very different. Celtic festivals kind of have their own lists, and I don't like including that. But some of them call themselves Celtic Fair, and even though they're on some Ren Fair lists, I don't include them. And there was one of those on there, but I did not put it on. So just an FYI. Okay. Now, one of the things that's been kind of jumping out at me that I wanted to talk about was AI music and art. And I'm sure some of you have very distinct opinions about this, and feel free to voice them if you want on this. But yeah, I've been kind of following it for a while. Last Dragon Con, on last Labor Day weekend, I was running a panel on AI music, and different musicians and people in the industry were talking about it on the panel. But yeah, it's definitely been a thing. I was looking at an AI music site called Suno, and it is so not good. It's kind of, I don't know. I think my view of it is generally it's kind of like the old elevator music, generic MIDI kind of sound sort of thing. It's not, it's a different tone, but there's a certain genericness to it. And it makes sense because AI is derivative by nature. It can only adapt what's already been created. It can't create new things. It can do variations on what exists. So it's going to be derivative no matter what. And that's what it sounds like. It just sounds pretty generic. But there's a lot of problems with it. Now, there are some good things. This is true. There are a lot of repetitive tasks that are very tedious, that are annoying, that you have to do, in whether it's art or music or whatever, that AI can do a great job with. It's like a just simple shortcut tool, like using Photoshop or something. It can be like that. But unfortunately, it's been taken many, 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 many steps further than that. And that's kind of the problem. So yeah, I devoted I'll just jump into 7 reasons because I figured that kind of sums it up better than anything I could really talk about. Otherwise, I'll be here for about 30 minutes, and probably none of us want that. So let's just jump over to 7 reasons. And 7 reasons is 7 reasons why AI art is a bad thing. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's kind of what they're trying to figure out right now because yeah, there's still a lot of which way should we go on this. I mean, right now the Copyright Office is being very firm that it has to be created by a human. That's what they've always done, and there's no flexibility on that. But that can change. Yeah, that's a nice way to sum it up, I think, Andre. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, I think that's a good summation. Definitely, I'm not going to even yeah restate that because that's pretty good. Well, okay, well let's start with 7 reasons why AI art in general, because I'm including other forms as well, but music is a big deal. But I think that's what I'm concentrating on. That's a lot of my experience, but I think I tried to make sure it applied to everything. So let's start with number 7. Um, and I mentioned this a little bit. It limits our long-term creativity. If we start relying heavily on AI art in whatever form, it's, like I said, derivative out of necessity. I mean, it's only restating what already has existed. So because of that, it doesn't create anything new. It doesn't teach us anything new. It's essentially like every book that's ever been written, that's what you get. You get variations on that. Nothing new can ever be made. And if we relied 100% on AI, that's what life would be like. So talk about stifling creativity. That's a pretty harsh one. So, okay, number 6. This one I totally get. Failure is the best teacher. You want to get good at anything? Try it. The first time out, you'll probably not do a good job, but you'll learn from that experience. You'll get better at it. You'll start to have a perspective based on that failure, based on that mistake that you made, based on how you could improve on it. You could tweak it. The desire to tweak things actually makes is where innovation comes from. So yeah, if you don't rely on that, you don't learn anything. You just type a little prompt in there, and boom, it just spits out something. You don't like that? Okay, do it again. Do it again. Do it again. I like that one. Okay, and it starts to get to where it's good enough, and people don't really think about it. And that long term, that's a scary problem. Number 5. It's kind of more like hiring a ghost artist and then claiming it's yours. It's not like that. You're not really creating anything. You're just having somebody else do the work for you, and it's pretty much just lying, falsifying that you did something when you actually didn't, letting somebody else do your work for you. Yeah, source materials without permission. That is definitely true. There has been some movement on that, where some companies have settled the lawsuits and paid out, but it's sort of like going in and stealing from your house, and then you get caught after the fact, and they say, okay, well, you can't do that. Okay, well, here, I'll pay you off, and I'll just keep doing what I'm doing and continue to steal. It's they're not learning anything. There's no culpability on this. Definitely a problem. Uh, yeah, there is, and we'll see what it ends up being. Number 4. Oh yeah, increasing online slop. I mean, I think most of you are watching this on Facebook. Some are probably on YouTube. But yes, the if you look at your Facebook feed, and a lot of the posts, a majority of them, are sponsored. They're not from your friends list. They're just mostly junk you don't want to see. I mean, maybe 1 out of 20 you're interested in, if that. I'd be surprised, but it's possible. But generally, it's just junk trying to convince you to click on them. It's clickbait, lots and lots of clickbait. It's been a problem that's been getting worse for the last several decades online. And there's just more noise out there that is meaningless. This is going to make that an even bigger problem year by year. Yes, and I totally get that, and I think that's sort of AI can be a good starting point, but that's the thing. If you use it as a tool, great. If you use it to do your work, you're not an artist. You're not doing anything. You're not learning anything. So yeah, I totally agree with you there. Number 3, but well, let me actually also add, Janine, that there's nobody policing that. There's nobody saying that you have to use it this way, and it's too tempting to cheat and lie and approach it that way. To lie in school. I mean, apparently cheating's very rampant in schools right now, where a majority of students are doing it and using AI for their work. Yeah, I don't envy teachers these days in that regard. Number 3. Yeah, the content becomes increasingly diluted. And what that means is you're right that it's scraping all of these artists' work, whether it's writing or painting or music or whatever. But all of this AI content is being generated and put online. And now the AI companies are scraping AI content to train. So it's going to be it's a circle that keeps going. As more content is AI generated, they're training on the AI content. So it just gets more and more diluted as junk. The training actually is a defeating process. Think about it as like making an old copier machine, making a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy. It just doesn't look as good, and that's kind of what's going to be going on with the information and the content. Number 2, yeah, it offers the appearance of freedom. I mean, art is the voice of your generation. It's society's fears, their hopes, their dreams. It's a reflection of what they wished life was like, and a fear of what they think life might become. It encompasses so much about society, and it's expressive. It is free expression that is not regulated by government or business interests. Now it is, because AI is more and more art becomes AI art. Few small companies can influence what we see and what we feel. I mean, this hard to get much more dystopian than that. So yeah, it's like too many people have not ever seen a sci-fi movie or read a sci-fi novel, because this has been covered so much in the last 100 years, and warned about this very thing. Yeah. Yeah. That is very scary. That is very scary. It's the comparison to well, I'm not gonna get too political with it, but it is a scary progression that is only going to get worse unless it is limited very soon. So that is scary. Let's see, number 1. Now, this one is I think the most optimistic one, and which is why I put that number one on there. Uh, it forces us to redefine what art is. Now, I think introspection is not necessarily a bad thing, but I think as historically there have been some assumptions about what art was legally and in society. I don't think it's been as clearly defined as how it should have been. And what's going on is it's kind of forcing us to pick a side. And depending on where it comes down, I mean, it could be a good thing. It could be a very bad thing. It could really end up making art unimportant, it meaningless. Devaluing art is what's going on. And it could go full out that way, where art is just marketing. It doesn't mean anything anymore. And that's the biggest fear. Devaluing art as to artists is like devaluing life, because art to us is what makes life worth living. So, sorry to get so deep there, maybe a little dark, but yes. So anyway, going through some of the AI music stuff, it's going to be interesting to see how this year progresses with that, because it is getting more and more prevalent everywhere. They're pushing it. Spotify has a ridiculous number of AI songs. I have a feeling that it's just going to get worse before it hopefully gets better, but we'll see. We will see. So yes, that's I guess that's my little thought-provoking moment of the week. But yeah, other than that, I am looking forward to next weekend and thinking that's, even if it does rain a little bit, I still think it's going to be fun. I'm not worried at all. It's one of those where the nice thing about, I know some people who say that rain days are their favorites, partly because, especially at a fair where there's a large crowd, some people don't like crowds, and having it be a little more intimate, they'll go to some place, a stage that has covering, and they'll just go there and spend a few hours, and they have some of the best shows that they will see that year. And it can be a really good thing. And I think most performers get that and really put on an extra special show. They'll mix it up. They'll do things they might not normally do for their show out of necessity, if nothing else. And it can create some wonderful moments, something to remember. So yeah, really looking forward to it. Well, okay. Well, it's 7:35. Actually, I'm finished at a decent time for once, so that's always good. Yeah, definitely look forward to seeing you Saturday, Jan. And yeah, I mean, not all fairs have to deal with that. Some fairs have a lot of it, some not so much. You have a lot of grass, and you have a lot of areas where you can mostly avoid the mud, and it's not too bad. So it just depends on the fair. It's an interesting thing to realize. Yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of it is just the fair, how they start the infrastructure when they first start the fair at the beginning. If they proceed with that in mind, it's actually not bad. Surprisingly, not much in the mud department. I mean, a few areas, but it's not too hard to get around, I guess is my point. Others, it was not as much of a concern or a thought early on. And as the fair grows, it really would get expensive to try to just curb that for a few rain days. So they don't. So yeah, I think it's all about how it starts. So yeah, anyway, hope we have a good weekend, and I'm really optimistic that it might not be as rainy as the long range forecast is saying. Here's hoping. Here is hoping. Well, yeah, there are certainly some places you're going to have restrictions. I totally get that. Always a fear. I always think about the Texas Renaissance Festival and the hill going into Sherwood over there. It is, back in the day, it was it was a very steep hill, and if it got very rainy, it was dangerous because if you'd step on it, you could slide down and just fall hard and still keep sliding, and it would turn into an angled slip and slide. It was rough. Yeah. Ooh, that was always scary. But yeah, it can always be it can be a thing. So always good to be prepared. Bring good boots just in case, and bring something to protect you from the rain. But usually there are places you can go to shield yourself if it gets bad. Definitely. Well, take care, everyone, and I hopefully, yeah, it seems like everything worked well with the network, so we should be good. I think I got everything working well here, and I should be here for the next several weeks. Shouldn't have any interruptions in my live stream, so that's a good sign, and I think we got it. So take care, and I will see you next week. Have a good day, good night, good week, and as always, a fair life. Take care.